I don't know the difference. Okay, I
We're
believe
live.
we're live. All
We're
right.
here.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mile High Recovery Chat. I'm Bryce.
And I'm Lindsay.
We switched.
Hi.
We switched sides
We did.
today.
How did you do this? Is it because I jumped in first?
Yeah, you jumped in first because I was busy and I was a little bit late.
I
Uh,
know.
and so you're like on that side, which is
That means,
cool.
yeah, that's cool. I'll lead this. I
We,
got this ship.
we like to mix. We're mixing it up for our fans. We don't want to get typecast, right?
Yeah, we want you guys to be on your toes out there.
Right.
We aim to please.
Right.
What's going on this week, Bryce?
Super busy, just busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a busy week, and yeah, that's it. Just busy, busy doing work, trying to,
Is it doing
trying to
work?
help people and save lives and run a couple of companies
Yeah.
and raise kids and just balance all that and, continue to do like self-care so I don't go crazy
Yes.
and just be like, you know, a single sober dad and CEO. So yeah.
That's a lot on the plate.
Yeah. I think it's just balancing it is the hardest part,
Yeah.
right? And everybody goes through this, right? But I don't think everybody balances it because I know when I don't balance it, I get off, and I end up depressed or anxious or I don't know,
Yeah.
grumpy, like
Grumpy.
whatever, dry.
Totally.
Yeah. And so,
I yeah, I get that. I get to a point sometimes where I'm like, I'm on top of the world and I am a single sober mom, like conquering stuff. I'm doing it. And then there's other days where I'm just like, I don't want to come out of my closet. I don't want to go
yeah,
and do life. Like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed and ill equipped for any of this.
right. Yeah, I know.
People are gonna figure out I'm a fraud.
And I know, right? Well, it sneaks up on me. Like, if I don't go to meetings and like go to the gym and remember to have fun, like I just like I don't know,
I
won't do
love
it
that
well.
what you
Yeah.
just said. Remember to have fun.
Yeah.
I think I've kind of forgotten that over the last couple of weeks because I've been like so heads down with just things that are pulling me in all kinds of different directions. And I
Yeah.
turned 39 on Monday and I kind of had this oh shoot moment of like, girl, you're knocking on 40's door. Is
Yeah.
this really where you want to be in life?
Uh-huh.
What the hell?
But that's good. You're supposed to do that at the end of a decade. I think you're supposed to kind of like start to look back on it. Am I where I want to be? Am I the person I want to be?
Yeah.
What was this decade like? Like I
Yes.
remember when I was drinking, I skipped all that. And when I finally sobered up, I went to therapy and I literally had to grieve 2.5 decades of my life that I
Mm.
didn't do that. And I realized that I was like, had them an emotional maturity of like a, a high school kid with, but I had an ex-wife and two mortgages and it was just a really weird, but I came out of it like realizing that that's what normal people do with their birthdays, when they
Yeah.
start a new decade. I just never did that. But I think it's important and it's good that you're doing it sober and
Yep. Feeling all of it.
yeah.
So cool. We've got a really awesome guest this week. He's someone I personally know and I'm a big fan of. His name's David McLaughlin. He owns a company called Sati Soda here in the Denver Boulder area. And we're going to be talking about like the health benefits of CBD, which can actually be a little controversial just given the space that we're both in and, being people that are advocates of sobriety and working in like a drug and alcohol treatment program. So I'm super excited to bring him on.
Yeah, let's just bring him on and start talking about the stigma and like what it really is that he does. David,
Yeah, for sure. Here he is. Hi,
hi.
David.
How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
Good.
Great.
So we introed you, or Lindsay introed you, and we talked about, in Colorado, and I missed it. I was already sober when we legalized, marijuana.
Yeah, me too.
And so, sorry, buddy. And so, like, but out of that, like, there's a lot of interesting chemicals in hemp and cannabis, and like two of the most interesting ones are what THC and CBD.
Correct.
Am I prefacing this correctly at all?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
you are. Yeah, you definitely are.
And I know that like a lot when it became legal, a lot of people started, it's like botany. It's good botany to like crank up the THC. But on the other side, it's also good botany to crank down the THC and up the CBD because CBD has all kinds of cool health benefits.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. And it's
You are
non-addictive.
correct.
It's non-addictive, right? You can't get high. You can't get high.
No, you don't get high on it. Nope. No,
So-
it's more well, some people call it THC medicinal as well, but you know, it is more it really helps people with different things like stress and anxiety and inflammation. It's pretty amazing. So the health benefits from the hemp plant are pretty incredible. And CBD has just become really popular in the last handful of years, I guess.
Okay. And it's like anti-inflammatory, and it can help you with depression or anxiety or sleep, or even athletes can benefit from it as far as like recovery and pain. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
And you're right. You know, THC in and of itself isn't bad. It's bad for me. Like Steve-O from Jackass said, he said, well, my weed bone's connected to my booze bone, right?
Oh my God. That's genius.
Absolutely it is.
And when I first got sober, the first, I don't know, I had a couple attempts. One attempt, I decided to continue to eat edibles, and that didn't go well. They're too strong, and I was too like in my own head to begin with.
Yeah.
And so I can't do THC.
Yep.
Personally, I consider it a relapse. And since it's been legalized, we see lots of young people, that's their drug of choice, and they're really struggling because it's so strong.
That's true.
Right.
You know, and yeah,
So,
I mean, it's just kind of accepted, isn't it? Because it's
Right.
Colorado, and you know, it's everywhere.
Right. So that said, let's talk about CBD. I'll leave the people that can do THC alone to do their thing, but let's talk about CBD because it comes from the same plant, I think, sort of, right?
Yeah.
But it's not harmful,
right.
and it's not a relapse, in your opinion and in mine.
No, definitely. We've had a lot of people in recovery that it really has helped with anxiety, right? I mean, that's one of the biggest things. I remember my first year, couple years of being sober, and just trying to get comfortable with myself was really difficult, right? Because I was on something for years, every day.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely it's different for everybody, right? I mean, it's not just a blanket like, hey, this is what's going to happen if you do this many milligrams of CBD per day. But definitely the common feedback that we hear from people is it really helps with stress and anxiety. It definitely has helped people with sleeping. It helps athletes with inflammation. I mean, it's a pretty amazing plant, the hemp plant. You know, I mean, it can be used for so many different things, medical type things like this, medicine, as well as, you know, they make paper, they make fuel, they make all kinds of amazing things with it. And it's renewable, right? It grows right back every year.
Right. And so you identify as being in recovery yourself, just like the
28 years.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
It's been 28 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when did you start getting into this field? And how did you come up with your company?
Well, so I've been in health and wellness for about 20 years. And then I got introduced to CBD a few years ago. And at first I thought it was just kind of, you know, the new latest, greatest thing. Kind of, there was a lot of hype around it. And I was pretty like, oh, okay. You know, I used to be in the weed business, right? And I was kind of skeptical, right? So, but some good friends of mine had some pretty amazing results. Pain, like with pain. There's lots of different pain creams that were on the market. And so I started to look into it, and then I got enough like scientists, you know, like really solid information to be like, wow, this is really a legitimate, you know, ingredient, if you will. This is an important piece of the hemp plant, and there's a lot of opportunity here because most people don't know this information, right? So then we looked at a lot of different ways of how to go, and for some reason I always wanted to start a ready to drink company, you know, like this, right? Like something that you can drink. I know the guys that started Izzy, and my friend Brooke owns Bhakti Chai, and that always intrigued me. For about 15 years, I was really like, okay, I want to start a drink company, but I didn't know what. And then so I had tried the drink companies that were on the market, back about a year and a half ago, and I didn't care for them. It was just my own personal thing. So I wanted to create a drink that I would be willing to drink myself. It's just an easy way, being an alcoholic and not drinking alcohol anymore. I mean, it's just kind of nice to have some options of non-alcohol drinks that are also beneficial and have really good health benefits. So that's how Sati Soda came about. In October of 2019, we launched. And that's what we have, is a functional soda. Most people think soda, they think Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew.
Sugar.
Right, sugar, bad for you.
Yeah.
So we did a low sugar. So we're using 9 grams organic cane sugar, as well as all these other functional, clean, organic ingredients, along with the CBD of 23 milligrams per can. And it's worked out. People like it, and I drink it myself every day. And that's kind of how it came about.
I like it. So as a guy in recovery, I think there's almost 2 sides to the stigma. There's regular people who think it comes from cannabis or it's, associated with that. And then there's a secondary people from people in recovery who stigmatize it in the same way. Right. And I'll let you in on a secret. I didn't take it. I didn't want to mess with it forever. Yeah. But I saw a guy named Ben Court he worked at Cedar, and he did a bunch of talks, and he got blasted on YouTube by stoners. They hate him, but he's really smart. And I started to think differently about it, but still it was years later, a few months ago, I started taking CBD gummies. What is it? Isolate or broad spectrum, not full spectrum. That's got more THC, or even if it's undetectable.
The full spectrum has a trace amount, but the broad spec T-free doesn't.
And and I know it's trace, but to me, being in recovery, and to most people like me, it's like a sacred thing. I don't want the THC. I don't care if I'm high. I just don't want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I started taking it, and I always had this gnarled monkey fist of pain in the back of my neck, and dude, it's gone. It's
amazing.
Gone.
After how long?
Years.
Just from eating the gummies? From eating the gummies?
Yeah. My mood is elevated.
It's great.
And it's okay.
Are you sleeping better? Do you notice a sleep difference?
I'm a good sleeper.
Are you?
I only sleep about 6 hours a night, but I've never had since I sobered up and did all the inner work. I'm fine. I sleep, and I exercise a lot. But I'm a convert of CBD. I didn't want my friends to know. I didn't, because I was they're gonna think I'm doing drugs, or it's gonna trigger something in me, and the next thing you know, I'm smoking a bong, right? And none of that happened, right? No. It's just a delicious little gummy. It's 25 milligrams. Yeah. And now I'm taking 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah. Good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. In the drinks, we're excited because, pre-COVID, there was starting to be a real movement towards these dry bars. Have you heard about this? Truly across the country as non-alcohol bars. And it was really, the trend of heading that way. I think a lot of people are, obviously there's plenty of people drinking and smoking, and all that, but I think there's a lot of other people that have just kind of over it. They're tired of feeling like shit, and they want something. If there's some nice options, some healthy options for them, that's great. And, CBD is kind of in that cool, it's kind of got that cool, trendy kind of, you know what I mean? That was kind of I was oh, I don't know about this, but now I see this stuff's good. And what they're doing is they're just finding out more and more and more benefits and other types of CBG and CBN and all these things that do different things for people. It's pretty amazing.
It's good botany, right?
It's good botany, just like you said.
Yeah, and it is. It's kind of edgy because it's got that stigma.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know.
It's like a double-edged sword, right? It's cool because of that, and it's stigmatized because of that. Yeah. But I think it's important because there's all kinds of medication you can take for sleep. depression, anxiety, and they're awful. They're not good medications. They're like tons of side effects. And I'm not saying don't listen to your doctor. I would never want to be interpreted that way, you know, but for me, I was 7 years sober, 7 years in recovery when I started, you know, toying with this stuff. I think it's okay. Like once you're stable and you've detoxed from whatever kind of crazy things you're doing, it's okay to, like, I think, experiment with some natural, organic alternatives to, you know, trazodone or Ambien or some of these mood stabilizers like Seroquel or the list just goes on of, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I absolutely know what you mean.
and even antidepressants, which a lot of people take, they're not always meant to be taken long term. You're not necessarily supposed to be on Prozac or Paxil or Zoloft for the rest of your life. You're supposed to get out of the depression.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And it's like, but not in our culture. It's like, oh, you got this, take this. What can I take for this? Let me have something, you know? And like, this is just like another way to explore health and wellness, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious about the CBG and CBN. Like, that just blew my mind.
There's so much. I don't have a great scientific brain. I apologize. Like, I think it's fantastic, but I forget it the next day. You know, I don't know. It for some reason, it's not helping with my memory all that well, but
it's not that good, Botany.
It's amazing though. You go to the CBD stores and the people that are highly educated on the stuff, like that's what they do. Boy, they can really educate you. And so can the internet, right? But yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, a lot of this stuff is so cutting edge. It's within the last year, 2 years. I mean, it's really cool.
Yeah. And you know, I like that you said, I'm not really into the science, because I used to be prescribed Lamictal and Depakote. I didn't know it was in that.
No. Right. No.
I had no idea, right? Still don't. I just know it's awful for me. But
yeah.
But you don't need to, like, know everything about it, right? I think for me, knowing that it's not going to cause a relapse and that it's not a relapse and that I don't have to feel bad about it and I don't have to hide it from my friends, even my recovery friends, is like, I love it. You know what I mean? I do.
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great to hear. I mean, you're right. It doesn't alter your state of mind, and, you know, it's beneficial. It's absolutely beneficial. So, and it's great. It's the more that we talk about it and put it out there, the less the stigmatism will start to fade away. Really.
Yeah. You know, and so, like, what's the space like? Like, how's the company doing that you're doing? Because I know a lot of people. You are doing well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even with COVID and the challenges that came with that, as far as no trade shows and, you know, just a lot of businesses that weren't taking appointments because everyone was freaked out. And, but, you know, we've been just getting after it, and it's been going really well all around the country. So it's really, it feels good to me that I know that people are drinking something that is so much better for them than most of the drinks that are on the market. Right. So, it feels good. It feels good to have something like that. And most of the channels, we sell it, of course, online on our website, satisoda.com, but like grocery stores, convenience stores, I mean, even yoga studios and cafes, liquor stores. It is a good mixer for people. If they do partake in alcohol, they can definitely mix it with alcohol. And actually on our website, we have a recipe page for people that do drink, and we have a recipes for non-alcohol drinks, which is great.
Like mocktails.
Mocktails, exactly. And I honestly, I see that in the decades to come. I bet we're going to see parts of bars that are dry. I truly do. I mean, I think
how there was like no smoking sections. Now there's going to be like dry sections.
Yep. I do. I think there's going to be a big trend that way. I just think for a lot of people in these younger generations, I just think a lot of them are kind of like, really? You still drink? I don't know. Right? And maybe it's just, I think a lot of people, I'm 50, right? So a lot of my I think if people get to be about my age, and if they've been drinking for a few decades, it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of, it's time, you know?
I think that there's some people who are going to be an alcoholic no matter what. And then there's some people who will never be an alcoholic or probably never even drink no matter what. And then there's a vast majority in the middle.
Yes.
And that like succumb to peer pressure or whatever they think is cool or whatever their heroes are doing. And I owned a bar for 7 years. That was the end of my drinking career. It almost literally killed me.
I bet.
And I was a music club, and for some reason I fell in, like, blues became a thing, and we were known for national blues.
Ooh.
And blues fans were a little older, and they didn't get drunk, which hurt my business. My business is based on people drink, because I have a punk show, dude, and they would just the bar sales would be through the roof, all PBR and shots.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the
Big
blues
margin.
crowd, huge. And then the blues crowd would come through, and it'd be like they didn't even drink. I didn't even make any money. They wanted.
Like, I don't want to feel terrible tomorrow.
No, because they like the music, right?
Right.
They wanted non-alcoholic drinks, and I was always like, I don't know,
Right. Coke, Pepsi, Sprite,
Pepsi, water.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. But I think the trick is like it's got to be something that they can have a few of, and if it's too sweet, they're not going to have a few of it.
That's right.
And if it's too heavy, they're not going to have a few of it.
That's it.
If they drink a few, the bar can make a little bit of money. The dry bar can make a little bit of money.
Yep. Exactly. And what's cool is there's a lot of cool non-alcohol drinks that are coming out more and more. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, it's cool, man. I think it's like I'm really passionate about like this subject and this topic, and like I don't have any problem with people that get high from weed if it's not causing them problems. It's like,
yeah, me either.
If I could do it, I would be doing it. Like I'd be blazed up right now, but I'm not because I can't, and that's fine too. I'm a happy, sober man.
Yeah, good for you.
But it's like, I don't know. To me, it's like a separate thing, right? Like, I don't know. I'm just really passionate about this project.
Yeah,
so
I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
It's really good work.
Well, it's just so weird because like when I first got sober, it was like there was this guy in my rehab group, and he was like, "Well, I have a problem with weed," and I was like, "What?" You know what I mean? Just stop, dude. But there's like since then. We get them all the time because it's so strong and it's messing with these kids' brains or something.
Yeah.
And so it's really become a thing, like some of the weed's so strong, and, DSM-5 has a category for the withdrawals and the dependence, and I don't know.
Yeah.
No, nothing mind or mood altering, right? I think like that's kind of like the policy I go by when I think about my sobriety. But I've had David's sodas before, and like I've actually like taken CBD gummies, and like completely calming. Obviously, there's not the THC in it. And for me as someone, when I got sober, I had this underlying PTSD, and like all of the trauma and all of the stuff started to kind of surface, and the anxiety attacks happened, and like CBD and having like a natural source to be able to help like get through that without it being addictive, because I didn't crave it. I didn't like obsess about it. There wasn't like the addictive traits around it. So it was like kind of like that thing that like helped bridge the gap, like helped like go through that like PTSD work and go through the trauma recovery like more gently without it being like all consuming and heavy. And so
beautiful.
I'm a big fan of your sodas. So
cool.
That's great.
Yeah, man.
I wish we had this when I got sober.
I
know.
Well, I hope it's a huge success, man. I hope
you
make tons of money and like lots of people benefit from it, and
thank you.
All that. You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, but real quick, we're in the Denver area, David, and a lot of our viewers right now are local. So if someone wanted to go and find a Sati soda, like locally, where can they go?
Let's see. So, well, in Denver, there's a lot of places in Denver, but like in Highlands, there's a really cool place called Levers. Do you know Levers there in Highlands? oh my goodness. I mean, I don't want to have people go to grocery or go to liquor stores, right? But they,
oh no. Or they can go to your website, right?
They can go to the website, satisoda.com. But yeah, we're in like most convenience stores, markets, none of the big grocery stores quite yet. They're still kind of on the fence. It is a little gray for them. And I should probably speak to this a little bit, just because it's not gray because it's from hemp and the things that they approved, right? CBD got approved federally with the Farm Bill. But there's a couple of pharmaceuticals that have CBD in it as one of their ingredients. And this is what I've been told. I don't know if this is exactly why, but if there's an ingredient that's in a drug, then it can't be in a food or drink as well. And that's why it's in this real gray area, but they're not enforcing it whatsoever. Like from a federal standpoint, the feds are just kind of leaving it up to the states, and the states are just saying, sure, for the most part. And so I think it's just a matter of time, because it doesn't make sense. You can go anywhere and buy tinctures of CBD oil, right? And then you just, put it in your mouth.
Sublingual, yeah.
Exactly. And to me, it's just like, what's the difference between that and taking that and putting it into a drink? Right. So anyway, that's why you're not seeing it at Whole Foods or Natural Grocer or any of those big places yet.
That makes a lot of sense. We had a question come in from Andretti who wants to know, like, could you drink more than one Sati soda and be okay? Is there such a thing as too much CBD?
Yeah, no, I definitely drink. I drink about 3 a day. So there's 9 grams of sugar per can. So over a day, because we have one that's called Energy. I take that in the morning. That has a little bit of caffeine. And then the Clarity, the one I'm drinking now, is no caffeine and focus, concentration, mental clarity, which I'm not doing a great job right now. But anyway, and then there's
David.
Chill. The Chill is, it's a relaxation product. It's got chamomile and kava and ginger in it, and it really, a lot of people say that it helps. Calming. It helps calm them, sleep, and it helps with sleep. So to answer your question, honestly, I know people that take hundreds of milligrams of CBD per day, and that's usually because they've got some sort of, severe type situation going on. Most people on average are doing anywhere from, say, 20 to 30, maybe 50 milligrams a day. And it could be a gummy. That's why you'll see most gummies at around 25 milligrams. Our drink is 23 milligrams. I mean, it really varies for the person.
So you can't do too much. You can't overdose.
No, I mean, I think that's kind of similar with THC though, right? I mean, they've never had an overdose that I know of, but yeah, it's the kind of thing where, and I should say this too, because when you talk about gummies, I've talked to people like, oh, I've tried the gummies and it like put me out. I'm like, yeah, that wasn't CBD. And they're like, no, it said CBD on it. And I'm like, I can almost guarantee you there was also THC in it. Yeah. So, because CBD on its own, it's not usually that strong where it'll put people out, you know? Yeah. So that's one thing that people definitely got to make sure, depending on where if they're getting it at a dispensary, it has THC
check
in it.
The label. Yes. Yeah. Check the label. Cool.
Yeah, check the label, get it from reputable sources, that's the other thing. A lot of times some gas stations and places.
Oh, dude.
I don't know if I would do that.
I was just going to say like Louis gas station, it's got that stuff there and it's like, it just looks questionable, right? It's right next to the pipes, the glass pipes and the Chore Boy lighters. So it's like crazy lighters.
I should point out too, because this is important. So there's a QR code on the can.
Yeah.
And that's connected to our third-party testing lab that tests the batches of soda to show that there's no THC in it.
No THC in it.
Yes.
Oh, that's really good to know.
That's really important.
I love that. Okay. You scan the code, it'll say.
It pulls up all the testing right there. And again, most of the reputable products on the market have that now. I mean, even though it's not required, it is kind of the Wild West with CBD. There's zero regulation. So you've got everyone, I mean, it's gotten better now, than it was. But yeah, I would definitely make sure there's somewhere where you can see the authenticity and the testing of it.
Awesome.
This
I
was
love it, man.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Thank
much
you.
for jumping on,
Yeah,
David.
you're welcome, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
So it's sati.soda and the website is
Satisoda.com.
Cool. All right. Good luck, man.
cool.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
All right. Thanks,
Okay.
David. All right. Cool.
All right.
Well, that was awesome. So
Yeah.
I know like next week we have another guest up. So
It's Melissa Mountain, the founder,
Mountain.
the CEO, the founder of 5280 High School.
Yes.
Which is like a high school. My experience with it, like my connection to it, is that they help kids with addiction problems. And I recently found out that even young adults who didn't graduate from high school can go there and get an actual degree, as opposed to most people. Most people will like drop out of school, do drugs, sober up, get their GED. Nothing wrong with that, right? But this way they can go back and get their actual diploma. And I think that that's really cool. They're doing great things. And Keith Hayes, also from 5280 High School, is going to be there. So we're going to have two guests.
All right.
And I think it's a really, really cool thing what they're doing. And I think everybody will just love hearing about, like a high school that's sober. It's a sober campus.
It's a sober campus.
Yeah. And
that's so awesome. And that's so great to like instill that so early on. Just like you can have fun without alcohol. Cause I know that's when my problems started.
Same. Although like college when I really went down.
It really took off in college, but that's besides the point. But cool. So next week, Melissa and Keith will be on from 5280 High School. So thanks everyone for tuning in and joining us. Bryce and Lindsay here with Mile High Continuing Care and Mile High Recovery Chat. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye-bye.